To create a grid question, click Add Question, and then you actually have two choices, a multiple choice grid or a checkbox grid. We'll start by looking at the multiple choice grid and then we'll switch it to a checkbox at the end to show you what that looks like. So a grid question gives you rows and columns. So I'm going to build it first and show you what that looks like, and that'll help a lot. So let's put the question in. This is question 7. In the rows, I am going to put, I'm hitting the tab key now to get down below. For this one, I'm writing in my own other. Even though they don't have the option for people to write in an other, I'm at least just putting other as a choice in case they just really don't prefer any of those. Let's look at the way it is the way that I built it. So right now you can see it's a grid. There's my column options across the top and then my row options here. So if I'm going to try to fill this out now, if I say cake here and cake here, cookies here, what if I also like cookies at a wedding? Now notice it's only letting me choose one response per line for this, but it is letting me choose the same item for more than one. So let's say I go ahead and fill this out like this. Let's look at a couple of these options down here that will change what I'm allowed to do when I respond to it. This says limit to one response per column. So if I check that, then look at it again. So now I can only choose cake once, and if I try to choose it more than once, I get an error message. So I have to choose something different for every column. So that is not going to be a rule you're going to need for every type of question, but it's good to know that that's an option. Another thing you can do is require a response in each row. So for example, I hadn't done that on this one. So if I look at it now, I immediately get an error message. This question requires one answer per row until I actually fill them all out. Then it goes away. So I don't really love that because it makes people feel like they're doing something wrong before they actually are. So I'm not sure I would use that option, but it's there. I'm going to deselect that right now, and I'm going to deselect that there. Just like with a lot of the other questions, you can also add a description. And it also gives you the option to shuffle the row order. So that would be, the rows are what's along the side here. It would keep the columns where they are, but it would shuffle the order of the rows, just again to maybe give each person something different to look at. Let's switch this now to a checkbox grid, and we'll look at it again. Now it's just checkboxes. What's different about this one is that it allows people to check more than one per row. I believe when it's multiple choice, they can only choose one item per row. Let me double check that. We'll switch back to multiple choice. And I believe you can't choose more than one item. Right, so if it's multiple choice, you can only choose one item for each row. When you're doing it as a checkbox, you can have multiple selections in each row. So that would be the difference between those two types of grid questions.